Okay, so I'm in Exodus right now and going over the plagues that the Egyptians and the Israelites were experiencing. Have you ever noticed that with the first three plagues, it actually affected the Egyptians and the Israelites together? It was over all the land of Egypt. And it wasn't until the fourth plague that God started separating out Goshen, that Goshen was set apart. And something that is interesting that Goshen actually means drawing near. So I think that's kind of beautiful how those who were drawing near were set apart and were no longer being affected by the same plagues that the rest of Egypt was being affected by. And so then it begs the question, why were the Israelites also experiencing the plagues initially as well? And one theory, I don't know if it's true or not, but I wonder if it's because the Israelites also were not listening to Moses initially. So we have already heard God say a few times, or Moses say a few times, that the Israelites were not listening to him, that they didn't want to hear what Moses had to say, because with Moses trying to talk to Pharaoh about their freedom, it was just making life harder for the Israelites. And it seemed like the Israelites were not really having much faith in God. I mean, we can even see that after they experienced the crossing of the Red Sea and, all the miraculous things that God did, they still did not have much faith in God. So I just wonder if that is part of it, why the first three plagues were in Egypt and in Goshen over all the land of Egypt. And then starting with the fourth one, Goshen was set apart. And I suspect that the Egyptians who were wanting to follow God, follow Yehovah, the God of Israel, I wonder if they also were set apart, that those who were drawing near generally, even if they weren't actually in Goshen, would have been set apart too. I would not be surprised if that was the case, because God is awesome like that. And we do know that when Israel left Egypt, there were other non-Israelis, non-Hebrews that came with them and were grafted into Israel. So there were Egyptians that were wanting to follow Yehovah. And we even know that from the very beginning. In Exodus 1, it talks about the midwives who feared God and were not killing the babies when Pharaoh told them to kill the babies. So that was just something that stuck out to me regarding the plagues. If you found that interesting, leave a comment. Also, leave comments on other things that you find interesting too, or your thoughts on that. Do you think I'm right? Do you think I'm wrong? Yeah, would love to hear your thoughts. Please like and subscribe and pass it on to friends.